Hello friends, my name is Vinod and welcome to i-RAS YouTube channel. Today we will be discussing about RAS Mains 2021 GS Paper 2 Unit 1 Administrative Ethics. We are doing RAS Mains 2021 solution series. In this we have completed discussion on RAS Mains Journal Studies Paper 1. Their links are available in the description box. Ethics plays crucial role in the final cutoff and relatively easy topic to cover and revise. Here is the syllabus of ethics. You can pause the video and have a look. Our first question. It says explain the role of concept of Sthit Pragya in the discharge of administrative responsibility. It is a concept of Gita, Bhagavad Gita, which means stable wisdom. Sthit Pragya means sthit matlab firm. Pragya means wisdom. A person who has a firm wisdom, stable wisdom. So, a sthit pragya will remain committed to values which will lead to governance and public welfare. Means he will not be deviated from his path. Let's go to the next question. What teaching of Buddhas are most relevant today and why? Buddha used to preach 4 noble truths and 8-fold path. So the first teaching we can say that desire is the cause of sorrow. He used to say that there is a suffering and there is a cause of suffering and there is a desire. Sorrow results into crime, corruption, climate change, wars, etc. So desire is cause of sorrow. Whatever, see for example, climate change. Climate change is a result of human activities. There was a desire to develop own country. So industrial revolution came, which led to the climate change, which led to the rising sea temperature, which led to the increasing mean temperature. Hence, follow 8-fold path to solve this problem. What do you understand by ethical dilemma? Basically, ethical dilemma is a situation where we are confused that which option we should choose. Both are equally correct. So, ethical dilemma is a situation in which we must choose between two equally right decisions. Say for example, is it right to give money to the beggar or one should avoid it as it promotes beggary? So, both are two contradictory things, but one has to choose one. Either he will give money to the beggar or he will avoid as it promotes beggary. Another example is intercaste marriages. There used to be a honor killing in some state of India, but today there are a greater acceptance towards intercaste marriages. It is an ethical dilemma. Let's go to the next question. Explain the relevance of ethical idea of Rina in the administrative life. The Rin basically means debt or duties which one has to pay in order to achieve salvation or nirvana or moksha. In the Indian mythology, Indian culture, we have to repay our debt to our ancestor, to our teachers, to our society, to our family, father, pitra Rina. So administrators' Rina can be repaid by working towards public welfare, good governance, social justice. Administrator is also under debt of society. Let's go to the next question. Next question. What way detachment theory of Bhagavad Gita is significant in the life of an administrator? Detachment theory basically Nishkam Karma Yoga. Nishkam, without attachment, without expecting any fruits. Lord Krishna used to say that do your karma and forget about the fruits. So when administrator is doing right thing for its own sake, not for that rewards or something else, without worrying about success or failure, which will lead to the transformation of society. And one administrator is supposed to do things which are in public interest, not in self-interest. So when administrator is doing right thing for its own sake, without worrying about success or failure, which will lead to the transformation of society. Question says the man's moral advancement depends upon complete advancement of society. Discuss. According to Aristotle, man is social animal and society is reservoir of certain traditions, custom, ethos and mores. It used to say that society is constituted from individuals. Whatever values a society is following will be followed by the member of society. In some society there are a larger acceptance of LGBT rights, whereas in some society there are strong opposition to intercaste marriages or even for acceptance of corruption, child marriages. Society passes these values to the individuals by way of value inculcation. If society is pluralistic, egalitarian, democratic, then there are greater chances that an individual will also be of the same nature. Example, Indian society. We are very tolerant, we are of cosmopolitan in nature, we have a lots of diversity, we have a respect for diversity. Sometimes society exerts undesirable influence on the minds of people, which may deviate the minds of its individual. Thus, men's moral advancement depends upon complete advancement of society. If society is fully grown, fully developed, then certainly there are greater chances that its individual will also be developed fully. Family is an important institution for moral advancement, moral development of men. Evaluate this statement. John Locke used to say that man is tabula rasa. Tabula rasa means blank slate. When we born as a blank slate. Human beings are born as nascent biological entity. Family acts as a primary socializing agent to turn human beings into social beings. We just born human beings. How we became social being? Because of our family. Family inculcate most values during childhood. For example, mother is the first teacher and home is the first informal school. In family, values such as love, compassion, self-sacrifice, sharing, caring, dedication, respect, values are starting developing during childhood. And those values are not enforced on children, but they are naturally acquired by them. Whatever value a family is following will automatically be imprinted on blank slate. So family plays a very important role in value inculcation. Next question. Explain Kant's ultimate good on the basis of relative and categorically imperative. Ultimate good is virtue with happiness. Kant used to say that the ultimate good when virtue and happiness comes together. It is the highest good, supreme end of life. To achieve the ultimate good, we must follow categorical imperative, the supreme principle of morality. According to Kant, CI is an absolute duty, objective, rationally necessary and unconditional principle that we must follow in all circumstances. Which means, say for example, integrity. Integrity is what? Integrity is a value which we doing right things even when no one is watching us. For example, red light. In the night when we are heading towards our home around 10 PM or so, we get some red lights, but due to night there is no traffic, there is no policeman, so we jumped that red light. But what categorical imperative says that do not jump the red light even if no one is watching, even if no one is there, if no policeman is there. It must be followed in all circumstances. We should not be afraid about the consequences. Gandhiji used to say that a satyagrahi should be ready all the time to get sufferings, because the path of non-violence and truth is not for cowardice people. So all immoral actions are irrational if they violate the categorically imperative, whereas relative imperative is a conditional duty of which we want something in return. For example, we are doing some kind of job in office, in return we getting some salary, but we are doing job with honesty, with integrity, it is a categorical imperative. So based on relatively imperative, one cannot achieve ultimate good. Hence, follow categorically imperative, which lead to ultimate good. Next question says, what are generally considered minimum basic needs of an individual to lead a healthy and productive life? What is the administrator's responsibility in ensuring these minimums? Let's find out what are the minimum basic needs of an individual. So, housing, supply of clean water, safe drinking water, basic amount of nourishment to live healthy life, education and minimum wage are the basic minimums. Okay. An administrator's role is to ensure their availability. India is a welfare nation, so most of the basic needs are fulfilled by state. It means government only, and government used to do all the public welfare programs through administrators such as IAS officers, RAS officers, DM, etc. So an administrator through various government schemes, for example PM Awas Yojana for housing, Jal Jeevan Mission for safe drinking water, implementation of right to food act, ensure the availability of these basic minimums. So administrator should be dedicated toward public service delivery so that these minimums can be ensured for public welfare. This is how an administrator responsibility in ensuring this availability. He will check whether all the beneficiaries are duly checked. Is there any bogus beneficiary? Is there any repetition of beneficiaries? Is there any beneficiary who are not getting his due rights or due claim? Administrator will ensure that the right beneficiary will get right dues on right time. So let's go to the next question. Next question says, what are the core ethical values required for excellence in civil services? Here we can write the Nolan committee also, I mean the recommendation of Nolan committee, but I prefer using second ARC. It is a more authenticated, it is Indian. So let's see what it says. This is a 5 marker question. So I defined values. What are the values? So values are the things that are important or valued by an individual. Okay. According to second ARC, core values of civil services are follow: commitment to the Constitution, objectivity in taking decision based on merit, to discourage the nepotism, empathy for vulnerable and weaker section of the society, adherence to the highest standard of probity, integrity and conduct, commitment to the citizens' concern and public good, impartiality and non-partisanship. These are the core values. Of course, there are other values too. I mean honesty, compassion, dedication to the service, public spirited, etc. So these are the core values which required for excellence in the civil services. Let's move to the next question. Question number 11, 12 and 13 are of 10 marks. So in 10 marks we will give first introduction, then body, then we conclude with some positive note or according to the question. So question 11 says, necessarily related means cannot be separated from ends. Therefore both must be auspicious for real and lasting success. Explain the above comment in the context of Gandhian ethics. Gandhi used to say that Gandhi believed in the purity of means as well as ends. He rejects the Machiavellian tradition who says ends justify means. So let's see, according to Gandhi, there is an inviolable connection between ends and means, like between seed and tree. There is an organic interdependence between ends and means. Both are interrelated. Both affect each other. Whatever we means going to use will affect the result, the ends. So an end which require unjust means is not a just end. Impure means would result in impure ends. Justice and public welfare could not be secured through unfair means, and peace could not be realized by war. This is what Gandhi believes. Gandhi believed in purity of both means as well as ends. He rejects the idea of ends justify means. Evil means, unjustified or evil intention could never lead to good ends. I am following a corrupt means to achieve a good end, so it can't be possible. There has to be pure means to achieve a pure end. So Gandhi was influenced by Gita's dispassionate action and held that individuals have a control over means but not over the end. The Lord Krishna who used to say that do your karma and forget about fruit, because fruit is not in your hands. However, Gandhi held that non-attachment does not mean lack of clarity about the ends one desires to achieve. Gandhi used non-violence and truth as a means to achieve the independence of India. Both are auspicious, the ends and the means. So for Gandhi, auspicious ends is satya, which requires no justification, and means is ahimsa. For means to be pure, human soul has to be devoid of all impurities such as violence, corruption, etc. Likewise, for an administrator, this is a conclusion by the way, likewise an administrator, the auspicious and everlasting success is public welfare, social justice, good governance, which could be achieved by just means such as objectivity, compassion, integrity, dedication, commitment to the Constitution, non-partisanship, etc. This is how we can relate. In the conclusion, we should relate the statement to the administration, because at the end, this is what they wanted, that how we are efficiently linked things to the administration and how they are useful in the administration. So let's move to the next question. Question number 12. It says, explain the factors essential in ethical decision making. In case of ethical decision being against to administrative decision, how will you harmonize them? Explain with examples. This is more of kind of a case study, small case study type, where they asked our opinion, where they asked our suggestion. So first of all, we define ethical decision. What does ethical decision means? So in ethical decision, basically ethical decision or ethical dilemma are of same nature or similar. In ethical decision making, we confuse between two ethical values alternative. Ethical decision making are things that whether this road should be passed through the village, as it reduce the length of road, which save cost, or we should construct this road outside of the village so that the resident have a safe environment, can have a noise free environment. So both are equally necessary. On the one hand, we are thinking about the peace, the noise pollution. On the other hand, we are thinking about the cost benefit, the economy, taxpayers' money. So the essential factors in ethical decisions are objectivity and impartiality. While taking decision, if a person thinks objectively or impartiality, which will work based on the merit, he will not be affected by any external influence. Next is a virtue approach. Virtues are basically attitudes, dispositions, or character traits that enable us to pursue the ideals we have adopted, such as honesty, courage, compassion, generosity. It is basically of personal thing. I mean, whatever the personal values of an administrator, it will affect his decisions also. Next one, the common good approach. It calls for those decisions which led to establishment and maintenance of common good. Common good basically which are those goods which are available universally to everyone and which are essential to everyone. For example, pollution free air, safe environment, these are common good. While taking decision, we should check that whether it's harming the common good, whether this decision will make any impact on common good, is it affecting common good or some kind. Next one, rights approach. While taking decision, we must consider whether our action or our decision violates some rights or some fundamental right of an individual. So one must consider whether the action would respect the basic right of an individual involved. Example, banning diesel vehicles in Delhi to secure right to safe environment. The High Court banned diesel vehicles in Delhi due to increasing air pollution. It is a right-based approach. Delhi High Court secure the rights of citizen who is residing in New Delhi. Other one, utilitarian approach, justice approach, and Gandhi's talisman. He gave a talisman that whenever you're taking a decision, think of a last man in the last hierarchy. If he feels that this decision will make difference in his life, then you should take this decision. Otherwise, you should not take the decision. We can conclude this. Sometimes administrative decisions are against ethical decisions, no doubt, because most of the administrative decisions are of a policy, are of a nature of law. For example, providing food grains only after verifying the Aadhaar card. There is a code of conduct that this is how we gonna proceed with this scheme. For example, food grains, but sometimes due to old age, fingerprint do not match. You must have heard about the cases in the Jharkhand and Chhattisgarh tribal areas where the old person died due to starvation because she is not able to get the food grains because her fingerprint was not matching with the database, and she died due to starvation. So in this situation involve right to food versus code of conduct. But an administrator will provide food grains with other verification which will increase public trust in administration. We understand that her fingerprint is not matched, but there are ways. I mean, we can check her past history, we can check his other identity card and make sure that she is the right person, she is the right beneficiary of these food grains or the PDS, and then we can act accordingly. By this we can increase the public trust in administration. By this he harmonized both administrative decision and ethical decisions. This is how we can choose a middle path. For example, this year Rajasthan budget, government of Rajasthan give a discretionary power to the district magistrate or collector that he can issue a temporary Chiranjeevi card to a beneficiary who he thinks that he is or she is eligible to get Chiranjeevi card. Let's move to the next question. This is a tough question. I would say out of 13 questions, this is a tough question. So it says each other's success teaches a lesson for better governance. Analyze this statement with examples. Actually, a statement was given in this. It says that learn from others' mistakes. So mistakes increases your experience decrease your mistakes. If you learn from your mistake, then others will learn from your success. For example, Indian Constitution. We got independence in 1947. and from 1947 we have started trust with the destiny, and we started making our constitution. But our constitution was made after studied various prevailing constitution of that time. I mean the French constitution, I mean Irish constitution, British constitution, American constitution. We drawn this constitution from various sources. Though we have adjusted those provision according to Indian context, according to Indian society, yet we can say that we learn from others' success. So an Indian constitution is a living document, and it is still evolving by ways of amendments. I mean, though we borrow certain good things which were prevailing that time, yet our document, our constitution is a living document. It means we are evolving. We can make mistakes. So there is a provision by which we can rectify our mistakes, and we can learn from them, so that our future generation will have some clues from those mistakes and they do not repeat those mistakes, right? So there was a time where right to property used to consider a fundamental right. There was a time where right to property was considered a fundamental right under part 3 of the constitution, but later on it was made legal constitution right, because it was against the national development. I mean, whenever some construction of road or some development project going through, someone filed a writ petition in the court that state is violating my fundamental right. So it was creating hindrance in the national development. So by way of amendment, it was moved from fundamental right to the constitutional, that is a legal right. So likewise, Indian constitution have reached 105 amendment and still evolving in order to give better governance to the citizen of this country. So we have learned from our past mistakes of, for example, provision of national emergency. National emergency, there was provision that PM on his aid and advice can give advice to the president to impose national emergency. However, by way of amendment of 44th Amendment Act, there is a need of written recommendation for cabinet to prevent its misuse. So we learned from our past mistake and we rectify it. It will lead to the better governance from previous years. Another example, we can say that the doorstep service delivery started by Rajasthan government, that whatever the service you need, you pay certain fees of that and you will get those service at your doorstep. This scheme was first implemented by Delhi government, and from Delhi government they learned from Delhi government in order to give a better governance to the people of the Rajasthan. And also same time they saved some resources on research and development. Thus all these are leading to better governance, as we are minimizing our mistakes and taking clues from others' success. So this is how we can write ethics answers. So this brings to the end of this discussion. If you think the content is useful, then please like and share and subscribe and share with your friends. Sun loses nothing by providing sunlight, and your subscribes and likes matter a lot. If you not like the video, please tell us where I can improve. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video. Jai Hind.